When Maya opened her grandmother's dresser, the dolls were already waiting. 6 porcelain faces, 6 pairs of glass eyes. And in their reflection, she saw something that hadn't happened yet. Something horrible.
Hi, welcome back, horror lovers. If you're already part of the channel, you know how this goes. Get comfy, turn off the lights, and don't blink. And if you're new here, hey, I'm glad you found us. Every week I share creepy original stories that'll crawl right under your skin. So if you like dark stories, jump scares, or late night chills, hit subscribe and join the nightmare. Now, let's get into tonight's story. Glass eyes, where every reflection tells a secret you don't want to see.
The dolls were already waiting for her when she arrived. They sat in a row on her grandmother's old dresser, heads slightly tilted, their glass eyes catching the faint light that slipped through the dusty curtains. There were 6 of them, each one with a porcelain face so perfect it looked alive. Maya froze. She hated dolls, always had. Her grandmother had died 2 weeks ago, and Maya had come alone to clean the old house before selling it. But the dolls weren't supposed to be here. She remembered packing them up with her aunt right after the funeral. Yet now, here they were, staring straight at her, like they'd been waiting for her to come back. As she stepped closer, she noticed something strange. Their eyes weren't just shiny. They moved, just slightly, as if the glass itself shimmered with life. Then she sighed. Inside the reflection of one doll's eyes, her own face twisted in fear, and behind her, a shadow that wasn't hers. She spun around. Nothing was there. But when she looked back at the doll, its lips had curved into the faintest smile.
Maya told herself she was just tired. Old houses did weird things. Reflections, creaks, drafts. It was all in her head. Still, she grabbed an old sheet and threw it over the dolls. Out of sight, out of mind. She started cleaning, trying to ignore the feeling that she wasn't alone. Every few minutes, she'd glance at the covered dolls, half expecting to see one move under the sheet. But they didn't. Not yet. By evening, the house looked a little less like a haunted museum. Dust gone, curtains open, windows cracked for air. The smell of old perfume and age still lingered, though. Her grandmother had always smelled like lavender and mothballs. She missed her, even if they hadn't talked much lately. As the sun dipped, she sat down on the couch with a soda. The silence pressed in. Then, from upstairs, she heard it. A soft tap, tap, tap. Her stomach tightened. The sound came again. Tap, tap, tap. It was the sound of porcelain against wood. Maya stood, heart pounding, listening. The sound stopped. She took a deep breath, grabbed her phone's flashlight, and headed upstairs. The hall felt colder now. The sheet she'd thrown over the dolls was gone. It lay on the floor, folded neatly. And the dolls were back in their row, only now they were facing her. Maya's mouth dried. She slowly stepped closer. The first doll had brown curls and blue glass eyes. In them, she saw her own reflection, and behind her a shape in the hallway. She spun around. Nothing. Her chest felt tight. She reached out, picked up the doll, and whispered, "You're not real." But as she held it, the glass eyes flickered. The reflection changed. Now it showed her sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone, and then she gasped, her soda can slipping from her hand as something yanked her backward by the hair. She dropped the doll. It hit the floor with a crack. Its eyes rolled once, then stopped. Maya ran downstairs. She checked every corner, every door. Everything was still locked. No one was there.
She tried to laugh it off. Maybe it was a trick of light. Maybe she was imagining things because the house was so creepy. But when she sat back on the couch, her phone buzzed. A message. A known number. It was a photo of her sitting on the couch, taken from somewhere behind her. Maya's hand shook as she turned around. The room was empty. She bolted up, heart hammering so hard she could barely breathe. She went to the kitchen, flicked on all the lights. They flickered weakly, buzzing. The air felt heavier, colder. Her phone buzzed again. Another picture, this time her standing at the window, except she hadn't been at the window. She dropped the phone on the counter. Her grandmother's old voice echoed in her head. "Never stare too long into their eyes, sweetheart. They see things they shouldn't." Maya had always thought it was just one of Grandma's spooky sayings, but now she wasn't so sure. She ran upstairs again, forced herself to grab one of the dolls and looked underneath its dress. Maybe there was a camera or some kind of trick. But there was nothing. Just old fabric and stuffing. Then she noticed something else. The back of the doll's neck had faint writing scratched into it. "We watch. You learn." Her breath caught. The next morning, she called her aunt. "Did your grandma ever tell you anything weird about those dolls?" Her aunt hesitated. "You still have them?" "Yeah, why?" "Sweetheart, those belong to her mother, great-grandmother Eliza. She used to say the dolls kept her company. After she died, Grandma swore they were cursed. She tried to get rid of them once, but they always came back." Maya swallowed hard. "What do you mean, came back?" "They'd show up in her house again, on her dresser, same spot." Maya looked at the dolls. The one she'd cracked last night was back on the dresser, perfectly fixed. Her aunt kept talking, but Maya wasn't listening anymore. The doll's eyes were shimmering again. That night, the power went out. The house fell into total darkness. The only sound was the ticking of the old clock in the hall. Then, one of the dolls started to giggle. Maya's skin crawled. It was faint, high-pitched, and wrong. She grabbed her flashlight and pointed it toward the dresser. The dolls weren't there. She turned slowly. Now they were lined up along the floor, leading toward the bedroom door. Each one faced her. The last one, closest to her feet, had her phone in its lap. Its screen was on, showing the camera app, recording. Maya screamed, kicked the doll, and ran for the front door, but it wouldn't open. She yanked at the knob again and again, but it felt sealed shut. Behind her, she heard the tiny footsteps. Click, click, click. She turned around. The dolls were standing now, walking. Their glass eyes glowed faintly, blue in the dark. Maya stumbled backward into the kitchen. She grabbed the first thing she could find, a broom, and swung it, knocking one doll into the wall. Its head shattered, but the reflection inside its eyes flashed just before it broke. For a split second, Maya saw herself lying on the kitchen floor, not moving. Then the glass scattered and the reflection was gone. She ran to the back door. This one opened. She bolted into the yard, barefoot, heart racing. She didn't stop running until she reached the edge of the old garden. The house loomed behind her, windows dark. Then, in one of the upstairs windows, a faint light flickered. She could see them, 6 little faces, lined up on the sill,
watching her leave. She didn't go back that night.
The next morning, a neighbor found the front door wide open. The house was empty. Maya's car was still in the driveway. All they found inside was her phone on the kitchen floor. Camera still recording. When the police reviewed the footage, they saw her talking to herself, staring at the dolls, whispering, "You're not real. You're not real." Then, static. And finally, one last frame. Maya's reflection in the pair of glass eyes.
A month later, the house sold. The new owner, a friendly woman named Carol, didn't believe in ghosts. She just thought it was a sad story about a girl who went missing. When she unpacked her boxes, she found something strange on the dresser upstairs. 6 porcelain dolls, perfect condition. They were beautiful. Carol smiled and dusted them off, placing them neatly in a row. As she leaned closer, she saw her reflection in their eyes. Then, something else. A face she didn't recognize, standing just behind her. The same face that had belonged to Maya. Carol blinked. The reflection was gone. But when she turned off the light to go downstairs, one of the dolls whispered, just loud enough to hear, "Your turn."